Morning, sir. My name is Vivek Kumar and my registration number is 19BCE 1850. This is the digital assignment 1 of blockchain and cryptocurrency technologies. The topic of the presentation will be blockchain application in insurance sector. So moving on to the next slide, which is index. The first I will be talking about abstract, then I will moving to introduction, then I will be moving to problem description. After that, I will be talking about research background, then I will be talking about blockchain architecture. And moving on, I will be talking about application of blockchain and IoT in insurance sector. Then at the last, I will be talking about conclusion and references. So let's start with abstract. So as you know that blockchain is achieving expanding consideration over all divisions and businesses. It has also been considered within the literature as a breakthrough rising technology with disruptive potential like combustion motors and internet. In spite of the fact that companies are recognizing the buildup around the technology, they are still doubtful in embracing it for the genuine esteem included for the firm. The systematic survey of this, considering many sources, is endeavoring to coordinated experiences from diverse bodies of the information. The objective of this is to compare all the writing sources to get it to the real levels of execution and utilize cases, and to distinguish the heading in which the insurance sector as of now going in terms of selection of this technology. So this approach captures dissemination possibility versus genuine dissemination in a industry based on collective intelligence of experts. So blockchain optimizes the productivity, security, and straightforwardness of the insurance industry. Distributed ledger technology DLT has useful applications for streamlining insurance claiming preparing, boosting cybersecurity protocols, and indeed speeding up the installation times. So moving on to the next slide, which is the introduction. Blockchain could be a distributed database framework in which exchanges and records can be marked, traded, and conformed without control of a central party. This secure, open, implies of conducting commerce exchanges makes a level of straightforwardness, security, and trust not previously possible. This innovation is balanced to revolutionize operations over a large number of divisions, empowering extra stakeholders such as brokers, merchants, reinsurers, and ecosystem partners to interact with each other. The result may be more associated ecosystem that guarantees certainty with the security and precision of the data. Within the banking industry, a few blockchain utilizes cases as of now being actualized, extending from customer-facing payment technology to exchanging and trade services. Whereas the insurance industry, in terms of innovation appropriation, slacks behind banking. It is in any case extraordinarily situated to advantage from blockchain technology. The blockchain can address the competitive challenges numerous office holders confront, counting poor client engagement constraints, development in developed markets, and the trends of the digitization. Within the taking after, we diagram the four most promising insurance-related use cases in three categories: empowering development, expanding visibility, and decreasing cost by computerizing key processes. So moving on to the next slide, which is more about the introduction of this PPT. Blockchain technology will bring almost noteworthy proficiency pickups, cost investment funds, straightforwardness, quicker payouts, and extortion relief, whereas permitting for information to be shared in real time, different parties in trusted and traceable way. Blockchain can too empower modern protection bonds to construct superior items and market. Insurance companies work in a profoundly competitive environment in which both retail and corporate clients anticipate the most excellent esteem for cash and predominant online involvement. Blockchain technology speaks to an occasion for positive change and development within the insurance industry. With Ethereum smart contracts and decentralized applications, insurance can be conducted over blockchain accounts, presenting more mechanism and tamper-proof review trails. Eminently, the low cost of the smart contracts and their exchanges implies the numerous items can be rendered from competitive for the entrance of uninsured markets within the creating world. At long last, the developing blockchain ecosystem will require to insurance. Cyber insurance can be taken as a format for scope with expansion and support for money-related misfortune, specie, and wrongdoing, and surety bonds. So moving on to the next slide, which is the problem description. So we have, as an evaluated 5 to 10% of all claims are false. Agreeing to the FBI, this costs US non-health guarantees more than USD 40 billion per year. To more successfully distinguish character extortion, distorted damage, or harm reports, blockchain can be utilized as an industry dispersed registry with outside and client information to validate genuineness, proprietorship, uh, and provenance of merchandise, as well as reliableness of report. Check for police burglary reports, claims history, as well as a person conform character and identifies of the false behavior related to a particular identity. Prove date and time of arrangement, insurance or buy of the product asset. Confirm insuring position and area changes. However, to realize blockchain, specific benefits from these application past is conceivable with conventional database arrangements and existing shape of participation. Example, by means of industry affiliations, extensive cooperation between insurers, producers, customers, and other parties is necessary. So moving on to the next slide, which tells about the blockchain in the insurance industry. As we can see here, this is the claim management, and it enables the insurer and various third parties to access and update claim forms. This is the fraud detection and prevention, which detects the patterns of the fraudulent behavior. It identifies the duplicate transaction and proves the date and time of the policy insurance. And this is peer-to-peer insurance, which guarantees the payment from the investor to the customer. And it is a secure platform connecting capabilities, simplify administrator and execution processes. And this is the reinsurance. It allows the capital and underwrite insurance policies are more effectively, provides more accurate reserve calculations. So moving on to the next slide, which is this table. So as you can see, this table, this tells about the drawbacks of survey works for blockchain application in insurance sector. So first, we're talking about the survey paper, which is called Blockchain-Based Solution for Insurance Industry in Smart Cities by Mahit Sarishfan. And the drawbacks are keeping up with smart cities needs a lot of investment. They put added stress on traditional framework, increasing the require for energy efficiency, forestry, and resource conservation. In truth, certain IoT are unable to supply enough coverage to support indeed the only shredded city application. On the other hand, citizens are worried about the security of their personal data. The establishment of different IoT sensors and cameras on key streetlights can moreover make them feel like they are always being observed by the city governments. So moving on to the next survey paper, which is called Blockchain-Based Framework for Auto Insurance Claim and Education. And it is been, the author has been Raja Judha Chukaoam. And the drawbacks are the associated and automated vehicles are so energizing since they are stuffed to the brim with technology of the space age. But all this innovation is currently inexpensive. Potential for innovation to go wrong through successful programming let us do incredible things. There are continuously and potential for a few unforeseen glitch to rise. So moving on to the last survey paper, which is called A Blockchain Framework for Insurance Processes. The author are Mayank Ravikar, Subhra Mudar, Sushmita Rose, Saurav Sen, and others. And the drawback mentioned in this one is changing smart contract form is almost outlandish. Any blunder in the code can be time consuming and expensive to correct. High reliance on programmers and presentation to bugs. Possibility of loopholes. So moving on to the next slide, which tells about the research background. So certain features of blockchain like tamper-proof smart contracts for automation of transaction without delay and increasing the competitiveness and securing the data for the future purpose among different types of users has attracted many insurance sector and financial companies to aim for this technology in the near coming future to increase their productiveness. But through the recent survey papers and researches, we find out there are many obstacles and drawbacks in applying blockchain for insurance sector in real life. Some of those notable issues are unrealistic use of IoT technologies like sensors, draw huge amount of electricity, internal conflicts ensuing smart contracts, fraud and cyber theft not eliminated completely as it still relies on honest data from the end user. The results of the study would help to identify and map research areas related to blockchain application in insurance sector and possible research gaps and give some realistic goals to shape the blockchain for future purposes. This paper incorporates the positive terms and merits for all the papers surveyed, and by doing so, we can build a suitable, efficient system. That is the motive. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So, blockchain architecture. Blockchain technology may be a framework that hosts value-based reports on the public numerous records, known as the chain, in a network connected by peer-to-peer hubs, two known as the block. This is a storage, or so ordinarily alluded to as digital ledger. Any exchange in this record is affirmed by the owner computerized signature, which confirms the exchange and avoids it from being tampered with. Subsequently, the subtle element stored within the advanced record is highly secure. Information and active record keeping could be a crucial portion of the company. Frequently, this data is overseen in-house or exchanged by a third party such as brokers, banks, insurance attorneys who are increment time cost or both on the company. Luckily, blockchain dodges this long handle and encourages transaction quicker development, sparing time and cash. Most individuals accept the blockchain and Bitcoin can be utilized, traded, but that's not the case in reality. Blockchain is different to the foundation that can be served on applications permanent to different segments such as managing an account, supply chain, fabricating, etc. So moving on to the next slide, which tells about the structure of the blockchain in application for insurance sector. So the portrayal of blockchain information. So portrayal of blockchain information architecture components. This incorporates the center capacity of blockchain information by era to begin with. Block that is time span and incorporates certain exchange data metadata or state of the data. This blockchain of information are changed together by the means of cryptographic hash of the information. The information layer speak to the where information can dwell on the blockchain, essentially either putting away information on the blockchain itself or putting away information in a distinctive source but including a pointer or employing a conveyed application as middle person. The core capacity of the blockchain ought to evaluate certain design consideration, counting whether the blockchain is open, private, or consortium, the agreement component to be utilized, the sort of authorization structure where information ought to dwell, and how it ought to be overseen, and the administration of the blockchain, who are the clients, peers, validators, nodes, etc. So moving on to the next slide, as you can see, this is a diagram here. This is the feature layer. This is the first block. This is the block second and third and fourth. And this is the data layer. And this is the data technology, which includes cloud computing, IoT, AI. And the design considerations are mentioned here. So what are we more concerned here is the technology stack, which plays a major role in fetching the data from the user and adding it transaction after smart contract validation in blockchain. According to the previous researches and survey papers, IoT technology is playing a major role in fetching data from user and either through various sensors or different IoT mechanisms. Blockchain coupled with IoT will make sure that data is fetched without dispensaries and gets stored as a valid transaction in the blockchain. So moving on to the next slide, we'll talk about how blockchain coupled with IoT technology will work for the insurance sector. So Internet of Things can interface gadgets implanted in different frameworks to the Internet. When devices objects can speak to themselves carefully, they can be controlled from anywhere. Some of the examples are smart home, smart industries, smart transportation. The network at the point help us capture more information from more places, ensuring more ways of expanding productivity and progressing security and so moving on to the next point, it's only ordinary that the distributed ledger technology, which blockchain is, will play a part in how gadgets will communicate, especially between each other, keeping a record and in this way, path of not just gadgets but to how they interact and handle. So blockchain for your IoT information offers better approach to computerized business processes without setting up a centralized process and foundation. The IoT network can prepare information exchanges over numerous gadgets that are processed and managed by distinctive associations, making it troublesome to pinpoint the source of the any information spillages in case of an assault by cybercriminals. Furthermore, the IoT produces a tremendous sum of information with the numerous partners included. The position in the future information is in continuous. So moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about how blockchain coupled with IoT technology will work for the insurance sector. But now we'll be talking about that how blockchain can help reduce the security and adaptability concerns related with IoT within taking after the base. So the dispersed record in a blockchain framework is tamper-proof, and this expels the need for trust among the included parties. No single association has control over the endless sum of information created by IoT devices. Using blockchain to store IoT information will include another layer of security, and programmers will got to bypass in order to induce to the network. Blockchain gives a much strong level of encryption that produces it essentially incomprehensible to override existing information records. Blockchain gives straightforwardness by permitting anybody who is approved to get to the organized to track the exchanges that happened in the past. This could give a dependable way to reorganize a particular source of any information spillages and speedy remedial action. So blockchain can empower quick handling of exchanges and coordination among billions of associated gadgets. As the number of interconnected gadgets develops, disseminated records technology gives a reasonable arrangement to support the preparing of the expansive number of transactions. By giving a way to enable trust among the partners, blockchain can permit IoT companies to diminish their costs by disposing of the handling overheads related to the IoT gateways. For example, conventional protocol equipment or communication of overhead costs. So moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about this diagram, which you can see here, blockchain IoT interactions. So this is the IoT blockchain, and this is the blockchain, and this is the data, and this is how the interaction is going on. So as we know that smart contracts are essential between two parties that put away the blockchain can encourage allow the execution of legally binding courses for action among partners based on certain criteria being satisfied. For example, smart contracts can approve payments naturally without any required for human meditation when the condition for giving a service has been satisfied. So moving on to the next point, which is advantage of using blockchain technology in insurance sector. Make fraud detection easier. The use case of product authentication. One startup within fraud discovery area is block verify to merchandise, such as gadgets, pharmaceuticals, and luxury things. Its solution permits clients to check for the fake items, redirected or stolen products, and false transactions. It works by labeling items and after that putting away the history and supply chain within the blockchain. A comparative well-known application is Everledger, which is utilized for the confirmation of diamonds and related exchanges. Related to IoT advancements, additionally important for sharing economies. Example, Uber, Airbnb are uses or sensor-based insurance which have as of now ended up advertised with millions of clients, particularly for usage-based car protection and continue to develop. Here, blockchain can be utilized for applications that enlist a policy holder usage or health information. For illustration, and let smart contracts calculate slash update the tariff. Again, a key advantage might be accomplished if access control to such delicate information can stay with the client, whereas data is inferable and reusable for the other parties. Automate underwriting and claim handling. The use case of smart contracts dynamics is one of the blockchain startup enhancing within the region of smart contracts for insurance items. The company is creating a P2P supplemental and employment insurance and employment social network profile information for confirmation of the employer's status. In this case, the smart contracts are computerizing the endorsing of policies and claims handling, and combined with the approvals verification from other whose policies who serve as a part of evaluators. So moving on to the next slide, advan- advantages IoT, which is called Internet of Things. So looking forward to the IoT, cars, electronic gadgets, or domestic machines can have their own insurance policies enrolled and managed by smart contracts in a blockchain arranged, automatically identifying harm to begin with and after the activating the repair process, as well as the claims and installments. Reduce administrative cost. The blockchain may diminish administrative operations costs through computerized confirmations of policyholder identity and contract legitimacy, auditable registration of claims and information from third parties. Example, scramble exchange of quiet information between doctor and injured party available by insurer to confirm installment and payout for claims by means of blockchain-based installments, infrastructure, or smart contracts giving insurers for illustrator controlled access to claims and claims histories enrolled to the blockchain improves straightforwardness from the reinsurer in a computerized and at the same time auditable way. Improve products and services for growth. We can see three ways in which blockchain can encourage development for insurers, progressing clients' engagements, empowering cost-efficient item offering for rising markets, and empowering the improvement of insurance items related to the Internet of Things. Fundamental to the potential and blockchain offers in these zones is its usage as a distributed and reliable platform for customer-controlled individual information, peer-to-peer, P2P insurances, and smart contracts. Emerging markets. In emerging market, P2P blockchain with smart contracts may be applied to micro insurances to offer them at the more handling cost if underwriting and claims handling can be computerized based on the defined rules and accessibility of solid information sources. Payouts to be insured agriculturists for illustration and can be activated spell conditions are detailed by confirmed climate and weather databases. So moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about application of blockchain and IoT in insurance industry. So initially, the concept of blockchain technology derives from the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. After that, this concept is used different domains. The following paragraph explaining the application of blockchain and IoT in automobile insurance, healthcare insurance, business-oriented insurance, e-businesses, supply chain has been summarized. So first we'll be talking about healthcare insurance. So mobile applications and inaccessible observing machines are fundamental for patient care in today's innovative age. Blockchain can be connected to these innovations and progressive security and quality of machinery. For illustration, a gather of site analysts made and tried health, versatile health, smartphone application for cognitive behavior treatment for sleep deprivation. The application sends patient health information to a private blockchain array. The MRRs within the range were secure and safe to alter after testing because these properties of the blockchain and the information was open and controlled by the persistent. Utilizing an application such as this one, the patient can record information as well as send it to the healthcare suppliers in minutes, no matter the distance between the persistent and the supplier. So, as you can see in this table, there are the drawbacks of survey works for blockchain application in healthcare insurance. The first survey paper was privacy assured health claim insurance claims. The author is Jingxi He, Sarah, and Rose Gamble. So the drawbacks are shown here that changing smart contracts processes is almost incomprehensible. Any mistake in the code can be time consuming and expensive to correct. High reliance on the programmers and presentation to bugs, possibility of loopholes. So the next paper talks about revamping India's healthcare insurance sector with blockchain and insurance contracts. The author are Siddharth Bhatt, Praveen Kumar, and Piyush Shukla, Abhijit Ghosh. The drawbacks are less ineffective benefit conveyance resulting in required for different visits by citizens, paper-based benefit delivery, inefficient utilization of government resources. Moving on to the next research paper, use of blockchain in integrating health insurance company. So the author are Nukula Pallav Satya. So the drawbacks mentioned here are it is monotonous to preserve the patient information. Insurance suppliers do not have to get entirely facts of their patient information, which closes up in assigning of base policies and increases in the cost processing. So the last survey paper, which is here, is application of blockchain technology in healthcare, a comprehensive study. The authors are Rim Benfek and Mariam Lahmi. So the drawbacks mentioned here are, as they discussed, there is no disadvantage. So moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about the same application of blockchain and IoT in insurance industry. So as we know, blockchain in healthcare can be utilized in five primary areas, which are managing electronic medical records, EMR data, protection of healthcare data, personal health record data management, point of care ergonomics management, health and electronics health records data management. As you can see here, this PHR, EHR, EMR, and EMR. See, this is healthcare provider A and healthcare provider B. So from EMR, it goes to the cloud, then EHR, then PHR, and then to the user, to the application, and it comes back and goes to the hospital. So moving on to the next slide, this table talks about the commercial insurance and the drawbacks of the survey works for the blockchain application in commercial insurance. So the first survey paper here talks about smart contracts for insurance based on hyperledger fabrics. The author are Animesh Wankede, Ashish Jain, Samruddhi Bhosle, and Nitin Kumar. The drawbacks showing here are trading anything with monetary value over the organized is not possible. Not each one of the acknowledge this method. If they are taking approximately cryptocurrency at this point, it will be acknowledged. The next survey paper, which we are going to talk about, is blockchain benefits for insurers. So the author of this is Jel Meleski, Zavika Delman, and the drawbacks are potential for innovation to go wrong through successful programming, let us to do incredible things. They are continuously to the potential for a few startling glitch to rise. So moving on to the last resource paper, which is blockchain in insurance, opportunity or threat. The author are Jonas, Bergen, Matt, and other people. So the drawbacks are there are no disadvantage ever ledger can offer assistance the insurance industry to operate with the efficiency, improving the encounter for insurer and client alike. Guarantees retailers, producers, and customers can come together behind a more bound together and trustworthy set of resource data. So moving on to the next slide, which talks about application of blockchain and IoT in insurance industry and explains more about it. So blockchain can be utilized to help internal operational efficiencies to drive cost reduction inside the limitations of an organization, or it can be utilized as a portion of more extensive environment of business accomplices that give mutually complementary benefits. Internal and outside to utilize these cases can be complementary and created in a secluded fashion, or it can be mutually exclusive. External utilizers cases will likely require more permanent center as brokers will have to see past their organizational boundaries in order to pick up a clean viewpoint on how to monetize blockchain, enable smart contracts with the more extensive environment, recognize where the esteem is, and share, distribute, and measure created esteem in a way that produces shared advantage to encourage the non-stop development of the ecosystem. So acquire and tackle the digital know-how required to make lock-in recently characterized ecosystem, identify and lock in with like-minded industry players that have complementary capabilities and share a blockchain vision. So organizations are regularly the fastest way to construct a new capability. In order to come to a conclusion whether the blockchain technology benefits the insurer sector or not, we'll have to assess all the facts and researches that have been taken in this field. Here in this survey, we are analyzing different research papers, finding out the methodology and approach used and its drawbacks. So this survey paper can be seen. This tells about the vehicle insurance and the drawbacks of the survey works for blockchain application in vehicle insurance. Okay, so here I will be talking about drawbacks of survey paper for blockchain application in vehicle insurance. So the first survey paper, which we are going to say is blockchain and smart contracts for insurance. Is the technology for mature enough? So the author are Valentina, Fibrazio, and Claudio, and other people. So the drawbacks include introducing sensors on vehicle is expensive and it needs a lot of power to run those gadgets and include on somewhere to the vehicle, which reduces the productivity of the vehicle. And the next paper is called How Blockchain Will Change the Travel Industry, Travel Insurance by Mark Van Regeman. So the drawbacks are tall control utilization in processing Bitcoin transactions. I don't discover any drawbacks in this proposal. There could be misfortune to the insurance company. So the next one I'll be talking about is the paper called Avoiding Insurance Fraud, a blockchain-based solution for vehicle sector. The author are Rui, Jose, and the drawbacks include this sort of exhaustion happens when some people intention make other drivers to crash into their vehicles in order to follow them. As an illustration, a driver is holding up to enter a roundabout and there is a vehicle in front of him or her. The driver behind the first seat uses a vehicle sees that nothing is coming, concluding that it is all right to move forward. The vehicle in front advantage as anticipated, but all of a sudden it brakes for no reason, and subsequently the vehicle behind closes up hitting it. What happens? Ordinary mischance. It is all staged by the hood. So moving on to the next slide, I'll be talking about application of blockchain and IT insurance in industry. And because of the blockchain technology, insurance companies will be able to solve a lot of problems that the car insurance world currently faces. As a start, insurance will be able to track claims in an unprecedented way only by looking at a shared trusted ledger. False claim will be, for all intents and purposes, impossible since all the data will be put away on a record. Hence, different complementary but completing actors frequently adopting, such as reinsurance, guarantees, and brokers will have their information stored and shared within the blockchain. Furthermore, earlier to the authorization of the given policy, each car insurer has its possesses, know your customers, KYC handle extremely inefficient and time consuming because of the assertion of various numerous third parties and mediators. Be that is, it may be employing a blockchain or authorized numbers can momentarily and safely get to the past KYC history and significant confirmed documentation. So, as you can see in this diagram, this is the dealer. It requires registration, insurance, transfers vehicle to the customer. Here we can see the service, and this is the insurance, and this is the registration authorities. These are the points mentioned. This is the police, customer, and manufacturer, and this is the blockchain. So the blockchain-based system for auto insurance claims and adjustment BFICA for connected and automated vehicles CAV, we can ensure access control utilizing allotments to prevent unauthorized access to the information contributing to prove and employments a dynamic validation convention to anticipate evidence alteration. In case the vehicle is included in a crash at the point that the data is sent to the auto producer through the IoT technology, subsequently no data can be altered. So moving on to the conclusion, blockchain is a technology ready for exploration by insurers, but its exploration is still a long way off. This is because blockchain is functioning as a distributed system and thus its value mostly depends on the collaboration with competitors, suppliers, or others. Blockchain is an IT investment with a perspective of presumably 5 years until fully realization of benefits. In application areas that do not strongly rely on blockchain distributed mechanism, alternate solutions can provide similar benefits much sooner. On the other hand, while proof is outstanding, blockchain promises unique potential for insurers to efficiently serve emerging markets with the P2P macro insurers, develop products for IoT markets, or rely share data from and with other parties for improvements in, for example, for detection or automation of claim handling. For the industry as a whole, this means starting with to work with a consortia, technology experts, and startups, regulators, and other markets participants to identify the challenges and the blockchain open and decentralized nature. Among these challenges are technology limitations as well as legal, regulatory, and operational requirements regarding, for example, data protection and standardization. So, as you can see, individual insurance companies should start with a holistic understanding of customer engagement needs with the own point to assess where the most promising blockchain user case exists. And innovative technology, blockchain presents a threat for increments in the form of innovative business models and all cost advantages. But there is a range of options to counteract this threat by adopting the way of working of startups partnering with or acquiring them. Key to shaping the future of the blockchain insurance ecosystem is getting involved in partnerships and industry activities early on. Blockchain is a digitalization technology that could be strategic interest for insurers. The biggest challenges to the industry-wide implementation are facilitating collaboration between market participants and technology leaders, succeeding the operational transformation and shaping a simulating regulatory environment. Laying the foundation to address these challenges today will put the insurance companies in a position to have at scale blockchain use cases and profit the technology benefits in about 5 years from now. So now I'll be talking about the references. So these are all the references that I used, as you can see. So these are some of the references, and that's it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present before you, and thank you, everyone.